same angle when you do these. And remember, if you can't do these, just go down a little bit. Don't go all the way. Don't go to a point where you have to stretch it out. This is all about building strength, and you start building that little tiny bits of strength around your knee. This has helped a number of people in the group actually repair and strengthening all of their joints around those knees, so it's been working really well. So let's get 10 of those in.
Also on the topic of being able to get lower in your squat, not have pain, etc. Make sure you experiment with like turning your feet out a little more or in a little more and narrower and wider stance. Everyone's hips are built different. You'll find one that works better for you than any other position, and that's what you should stick with. You're not wrong because it doesn't look exactly like the way we do it.
And even if you want, like she talks about, you can try these, and if it's extra hard, not hurting, but harder to do it like close feet, then try some of those. You know, this is about pushing yourself a little bit.
If it hurts, probably don't do it that way.
Right, but if it hurts, don't. But again, this is, you know, wider works different small muscle groups than closer. So just be aware. The idea is that we're trying to push ourselves to be stronger here. All right, so you should have those done. So next, we're going to keep our back straight like normal. Everybody knows these, but we're going to get on the balls of our feet. We're going to push up into the air, like you're reaching into the air. Then you're going to go down, staying on those balls of the feet, all the way down, and then back up. You see how straight the back has to be. And then you're going to push all the way up onto your toes. And my toes all just cracked. So, and we're going to go ahead and do 10 of those. You might lose your balance, but that's part of this. You're learning how to catch your balance, strengthen the feet so you can catch your balance. When you hit that top, remember, push up onto your toes. That's it. We were just talking the other day and reminded that we had a great discussion about power generation and how even the toes are a huge part of power generation. And this essentially keeps that back nice and linear, which really helps your back in the long run as well. Right? Anytime you lean your back, you put extra stress when you're leaned over on different body parts. So
we've been talking about knee stability as we do all of our squats. Getting up here on the balls of our feet, we have to start thinking about ankle stability too. If your ankles are rolling way out like this, that's not good. That's how you're going to roll an ankle. So you can focus on just doing some straight up plain calf raises. You do versions, feet pointing in, pointing out, get the different muscles around your ankles to build them up so that when you do go up on those toes, you're not wibble wobbling all over the place.
And this is all, and it's interesting, Fox, so Ingolf is over here, Sir Ingolf's over here talking about balance ball. There's, I forget which basketball player it is that constantly practices like dribbling a ball on a half ball. He's always on a half ball. He's working on dribbling the ball around it and stuff like that. And people watching, it's just so smooth. They're like, what the hell is he doing? And then they realize that he's understanding his balance perfectly all the time and using that smooth motion. You can't just drive into a balance ball really quick. He's using that smoothness to create really good form. Silva used to do that. People would watch him practice and like, what the hell is he doing? He's on a yoga ball, just rolling around and flipping on a yoga ball and rolling around the studio and doing stuff. And they're like, people are like, it looks like yoga ballet. Like Mir did. Yep. And it's just crazy. So this is that same thing, building strength and understanding your body better. All right, next one. So next one, get in your stance. And now we're going to do that rocking motion all the way up onto those toes. Now even farther, get onto the ball of foot and then push onto the toes. Get that back straight. Put your head up in the air. There we go. That's it. Push that belly up.
Like you're leaning backwards, but you're not.
Yeah, there. That's perfect.
Tucking it.
And then let's all the way back. Keep your back perfectly straight. And now your hips tuck a little bit more. Now let's bring those forward. Here you're learning literally how to move your hips so that your back stays nice and even. All the way onto those toes. Roll so you're like almost catching yourself. Exactly. Now back. Good.
Your back foot turned out quite a bit. Your knee is not also like going crazy. Some people's knees and toes don't quite line up. But you don't want to be loading sideways into your knee. That's at least not if you're following,
Yep.
you know, the Brownist school of fighting here.
There you go.
There's always a caveat. If that is your stance and it's what you
Yep.
learned formally and what works for you, cool, great.
All right, let's move into
Notice
the
on
other
that
one. Let's
front.
do the same thing on the other side now. All the way forward. Push on those toes. Roll onto that ball. Now kick that hip out. There you go. Good. That's it. Now I'm almost feeling like I'm falling here on those toes. There you go. And then all the way back, keeping that butt under you now here. You could almost like sit in a chair here. There we go. And back forward again.
Properly
Again.
tucking your hips, you'll be getting a hell of a stretch through here.
Yep. And again, this is what we do at every shot we throw. This is that place we can literally lift your front foot, no big deal. And then you shift back forward onto the ball of your foot, then on your toe a little bit. You're really good. You can lift that back foot. Side showing off.
Yeah.
Then back.
Over. Don't worry.
All right, let's get those. Really push onto those toes. Now, everyone, just go ahead and just relax, breathe, think about breathing. Let's not think about the exercise so much. Let's think just through, clear head. That's it. Think about the weight on your feet. And then just roll back and forth. Nice and clear. This is all we're doing. We are just thinking about, oh, I can feel my foot wobble here. And I shift back. Everything else is out. We are just doing these. Sometimes closing your eyes and doing them allows you to even focus deeper into those.
Wobbling, don't forget to hold your core. An ab workout.
Good. Yes,
Little did you know.
it is definitely an ab workout. All right. Next one. Let's go ahead and just warm it up a little bit. Right? Nothing really shocking here. You can get through those rotationals, ins and outs.
One of those people working on your sideways knee stability, get a few side squats in here, even if they're small. Start getting those warmed up before we put more stress on them during ladder drills.
This helps too. Really kind of feel like warm the groin up area, just because that if it gets really tight, that becomes an issue. Good. There we are. If you got knee issues and you want to go ahead, or ankle issues, go ahead and get those rolls in. Any place where you know you're weak, this is the time to make sure that it's working for you. So calves, stretch those calves out.
And anything that's actively sore right now as you're starting because you worked out yesterday or something, move it. Make blood flow through it.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and prepare to start our ladder stuff.
What subset are we doing today? What do you want to focus on? I don't know what you're like later lesson.
Later lesson plan is going to be a little bit of that. What we're working with you is to drop into that front knee a little bit, where I'm still going to push through the whole thing. We're going to try to be a little bit more clear in mind today. That idea, adding a little layer in there where we're escaping everything else and just trying to keep our mind in the fight or into what we're doing. So let's go ahead and work on bursting stuff today.
Bursting stuff. All right. So we're going to start with everybody's favorite warm-up of 2-foot run. It's not super bursty, but it'll lead us in. So 2-foot run, pick a foot, start it off. 1, 2, 1, 2.
All right. Super easy. Pick a foot. Keep your head up. Small feet. Almost lost it. Nice small feet. Keep on. You can just do it right over here if you want. Or you can do it here. It's up to you.
How about not?
No, you got to do them, Denny. That's how you keep them young.
You can't let Casimir beat you out.
That's right.
If you got time, go ahead and do backwards.
Yep. Again, pick a foot, and now try this backward. Just bend those knees. Small little pushes. Don't worry about the size. Just keep them nice and small.
Also, I'm gonna apologize in advance. They're setting up for a fair here at the park. So we've got a lot of big trucks that are gonna be driving by and they're real loud.
Other foot.
So if you missed something because you couldn't hear us over the truck, just let us know when it's passed and we'll repeat it.
Oh, there's a little oh God in that one.
Yeah, I need to try those away from the ladder because I'm too worried about tripping.
Yeah.
All right. Next thing for burst, because I want everybody to hate me today. We're gonna do hopscotch. Because it's get down in your squat and then it's all just little bursts out of your feet to do the jumps. That's all it is.
Super easy. In, out.
Mostly in your calves. Surprisingly enough.
Yeah, and then backward. You're good. So the great part is, I know Louis and Saib were talking about some of our Tuesdays are getting a little slow. They're talking about adding some more enhanced video to talk about what we have been talking about a lot, and that is why some of these movements fit into what we do in our game. Again, this one, you know, we look at like who's going to do hopscotch in fighting. Believe it or not, it happens all the time. Well, I'll be fighting. Hold on. I'll be fighting side maybe. And so even if I'm out here, or we got a little bit, if I want to drop, sometimes I'm right in there, and then you're back together again. That's right. So this is a very standard. This happens all the time, right? You have a lot even when you're falling in. Sometimes you'll fall in like ladder. It wasn't me. Ladder kicked my ass. I didn't do it. All right. So you fall in. Bang, and then you're like here. You get that really quick squat out because now you're right in front of the opponent, minimize your blocking area, and now you're covered. So hopscotch looks ridiculous, but there's an actual application to it.
Like it, a lot of it is just building those little bursty calf muscles and the agility, but yes, there are moments in which it becomes actually appears in the fight. Okay, all right. So next, we're gonna do our nice basic skiers and focus on the burst aspect of this. So instead of doing them slow and smooth like we do sometimes, we're gonna burst out into it.
And again, remember the burst occurs with the thrust. That if you literally, Saib showed this one time, and I thought it was a great way. If you hold your leg up here and you start leaning, and then boom, you fall into it. So that's an extreme example. We don't lift our leg, but that same thing's happening. I'm not putting any weight on this. I'm falling, bang. No weight, falling, bang. Falling, bang. Now close your eyes. Hey, breathe out. Hey, 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 hey. And that's fundamental drop step.
Then if you've got time, comfortable, make sure you're doing backwards.
Here we are.
And if you've been working these where you're staying in
your
same
butt falls
stance
into that spot now.
all the time.
I think you're sitting into a space. Yes.
Like we spend a lot of time working these where I'm going, my left foot is in front of my right foot because that is my stance. And no matter how many times I do it, I'm staying with that. If you've got time, if you're comfortable, go ahead, try switching your feet. You can do the same thing backwards. Forward, try purposefully switching your stance as you go. Lots of variations you can play with.
And the key is we add all of these variations because you will never know where your feet are going to be at any given time. We're going to try to do things in what's most effective to us, but I may be pushing somebody and switch up my style and push them over here, but then I want to drop step over here. It's like, phew. So you're going to get a little bit of a triangle step on that motion, but that's where it is.
Yep. Focus on the basic one till you've got it, then just add more and more.
I want everybody to run through this one more time, and I want you to think about that last one you just did and you thinking through it. And let's do this one. I want everybody to just close their eyes, and I want a nice breath out at the end. Don't have to be as hard as I was doing. Just breathe out. And just think about feeling your weight. Just feeling what your body is actually doing. The idea here is, you know this exercise so well now that next stage of this is to start learning how to mentally release from what you're doing in your head, thinking about it, and just do it by feel. Because that'll help to get in a fight. That helps to get from one decision to the next decision much faster. That's where we get the zone.
Next, we're going to do the wide skiers. And this one, you need that burst out of your foot you're leaving in order to get wider, further across the ladder. You're adding that extra push at the end.
You could do it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Remember, you can always turn your mic on so we can hear you if you have a question. This exercise is the same way as the last, except now what we think about, you still have to fall. Don't start with the push. Start with the fall, and then at the end of it, shoot. Start with the fall. Shoot. 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 Okay? That's that burst where we're really working at the end of that, on the end of that fall. This is also the reason why, be careful of the ditch there. This is also the reason why we really work those toe strengths, because that's actually what you're bursting off is the toe and the side of your foot. Right. Remember, you can do this one backwards.
All right, we'll do it backwards then. Yeah.
Wrong Balder would be so proud of you. You can do it on the side. If that
Stop
hurts.
tripping on it. No, I keep not lifting my feet enough.
Well,
to
that's
go
off the ground because there's a
over the
little hill
ladder.
here, and it's on front of the hill.
Okay, I drag my feet too much anyway. Tuck those hips. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Next, Louis, we can hear you replacing the car battery.
You got that ratchet going.
And it's done.
Oh, awesome.
There we go. Now it'll stay on us. Hooray. All right, next up, we're going to do our shuffle version of the drop step. So I'm going to take that outside foot across, focusing on the burst.
Yeah, and the idea is a shovel, if you cross that foot a little, it's okay, but what we're really trying to do is put it right in front of the other one. If you want them real tight and you just do it side to side, they're literally replacing where your foot is. But if you're trying to go forward, and you start getting these back. Right? So it's interesting because I rarely did the shuffle years ago. Louis actually added the shuffle because he tends to do it a little bit more than us. And then we decided to go ahead and add that into our routine. And then we learned a lot about the shuffle and also the crossing back foot, our front foot across the feet. Yep. That's exactly it. Now, and to move your weight, you just, oh, there you go. So you just lean forward a little bit. You just drop into the foot forward. Yeah, bring that other one. So again, this one is really good for something like this. If I'm fighting somebody, right? So here I am fighting side, and I just want to get over into this corner. I'm like, yeah, I can do that with a gathering step, but then I can only get so far around. The shuffle allows you to get even farther because it's a longer, easier, longer step. That's how we're changing that.
Okay. Next up, we haven't done it in a while, so let's do it. We're gonna do that same thing, but we're gonna angle it in. We're gonna get that turn back in there because there's a lot of burst involved in making that turn happen. Pushing off those toes, rolling your hips around.
And the key is that foot has to change to the way you're turning. So if I'm turning in, this front foot turns on the angle that I want to point. That way my hip. And then we just start switching them faster. If you don't turn your foot, then you're going straight. Now your foot steps behind you and turns on an angle.
Discussing the location of hidden.
I know, here we go. So again, in this one, same.
In here.
Yes. Same thing goes in this one. Now we're in where you may be on an opponent, you may be in a corner, and I want to switch this. This is classic kind of. Are we on a screen? I think. Yeah.
I can't see through the glare.
There's a little bit of classic Mike Tyson. We pop this like bang, I throw a punch. And then I can come right back. Bang, I can throw a punch. Right? So that's that TikTok.
So other good bursty things. Our jab jump, of course.
It's always
very
a fun
bursty. All burst in, burst out, down the ladder.
I did this one last week with Ronvalder quite a bit, late in the Louis video. I was doing a lot of jab stuff. Just to keep them on edge, keep the tension in. And then
let's go the other direction. So we just move to the left, we're gonna move right.
So you're falling into these, and falling out.
Tripping.
We don't want our body to TikTok. We don't want our foot to turn. So a lot of these, sometimes here's a couple of things to watch. So you turn your hip forward, and then that's not really a jab step anymore. That foot needs to be straight, the same way it's always like as you fight. The other piece is the lean. I'm in, my body leans back. I'm out, my body leans forward. I'm really not moving here. The idea is we're using all that drop step.
Show that foot turn again.
So here's the foot turn. Super important. Here's what we start getting lazy.
So it's not in the shadow.
We start getting lazy, and all of a sudden, I jab in sideways, and I jab out. See, my foot is actually at an angle to the ladder. That is the incorrect way. The correct way. Straight, out, straight, out. Okay? Straight, out. The other piece on this is we don't want the body to sway. The first part of this is that drop step. We lift this foot, we fall in. Whole body straight up and down. We lift this foot, we fall out. Body straight up and down. You're developed real small control of movement of your hip. I'm falling forward, I'm falling back. Falling forward and falling back. We're developing that because the smaller you can make those movements, it's actually really hard to control back and forth like that. That fall forward, fall back, and keeping your body in line. So it really becomes important in a fight. All right.
The now on that same note, we're gonna take that forward burst, but we're gonna make it even bigger. We're gonna do our large burst forward and then a small one back. You're bursting in with some sort of offensive, fake attack, whatever, and then stepping back out of whatever their immediate return is gonna be.
And we'll show you the reason why this works. This is exactly what I did quite a bit. And again, we're falling and then bursting off our toes. You can track this on the ladder. You can put your back foot or your front foot on one ladder ring, and you fall and you burst and see how many ladder rings I go. And then later you can try to stretch that out more. Remember this though. If I jump and I sway back, my heel hits the ground first and you end up sliding. So you have to be careful. This is that same thing. I want my body over my foot. If your body's not over your foot, even if I do this and my body's not over this foot going sideways, you slip out. We've seen that a lot. So I'm going to do a gathering step over here and I'm like, here I am, my foot goes. That's how you know your foot is not over, your body's not over your foot. So that same thing goes here. I don't want this. I want to be over that foot. Hey, whole body, same place. My body is the same. I started here, I end here. So these can be done backwards.
Like for these, honestly, the forward version, I actually find that instead of reaching out and landing heel first, I'm actually landing toe first on that front foot.
Yeah.
And everything's just gathering up underneath that toe. And also backwards.
Again, she's landing on the toe first.
Isn't to say it's impossible to do it landing on your heel, but
You do those?
yeah.
Okay.
And my foot landed right this and that's what we're working
Awesome.
on. Yes. Especially trying to prep for fencing. I'm like, this is your move right here.
Yeah.
This is your big giant lunge. Except instead of going, ha-ha, and then being stuck here,
You're finishing it.
you're doing the burst, you're finishing it, and now you're ready to keep going.
And the reason why you want to finish that, we talk about jumping back, but later on when we were doing long jumping drills, we practice these. So side would be I could be using a dummy. I would literally, I'd be like, bang, and then I just fall to the side. Instead of going back, I fall offline. And then I practice it the other way. Here I am, bang, onto the other side. So the difference in those two movements is here's my jab step, and instead of just falling back, there's my jab step. Now I look for that turning outside gathering step, bang, bang. If I'm going to the other side, I look for, essentially I could do this as a shuffle step.
Or if you get that opponent that's gonna run backwards the moment you jump at them. I've totally done this where I did like 2 or 3 in a row, or did one and then it just turned into a forward walk kind of after that.
Yep.
You know, it becomes a
Yes, and that's the problem. If I go straight back, that's where you get the double jabs, and boxing start being super effective. And that same thing happens with double jab here and with a sword.
or the thing that I've noticed from a lot of people, maybe just because of how I have fought for such a long time, is I do a big thing like that and they freak and then they start coming back at me because they're expecting me to bail. That's what I've always done. But when you don't and you go right back at them, I get a free shot.
Yep. So, and that is that free shot is you gave full attention. You got you essentially took control of the beat. I freeze, and then you have your opportunity because you froze me. You got a free beat to throw something. Okay. All right. Next.
As far as focusing on bursts, that's really the big one.
Okay. So last week I think we went through the rolling ones. I keep thinking we don't have one on there that we. Oh, let's do the switch
never
work. That's
made it on
that's
there.
speed.
All right. Agility, working those little calf muscles still. Switch foot. Each foot touches each box once. Feet, knees, toes, everything faces forward. Not doing the twist.
And you're not jumping up and down. See where my head's going up and down? You want to keep that head on a line. You could actually look. If you're against the wall, you can look at the wall, try to keep their eye level exactly the same height.
Trying to trip on your ladder.
The switch foot is used depending on what kind of shot you want. I could be here and I'm gonna look and I could literally time these two. Switch and throw. Right? I could be out here leaning. I could go switch, throw. That's more of a drop step. I could just be out here and very comfortable. And what that does is create, oh, they move.
Something's happening, and I don't know what it is.
And you actually never move. You don't have to change your offense, defense. All you're doing is you can go in a fight and actually do that. Don't worry about the effect on your opponent. It's nice to see an effect, but I'm out here. I'm just gonna practice. You know, and we're fighting. I'm fighting. I think I'm gonna try a switch with it. I'm gonna go back, right? And see what your opponent does. This is a free move. It's not a terrible place. Just don't do it. You can do it here, but it might add some stress on you if they do something. Sometimes when you're here and you do something, your opponent will pop up and try to respond. So do that out here. Same with the jab step. You'd be way out here. I just jab and then pop back. See what your opponent does. It's free. You might see that they throw immediately at you. You're learning something. So that becomes part of why these are important to try at the edge of range, especially if you have an opponent that's your level or below. These are much easier to try. Again, you're not trying to execute the step and put it in your game. You're not trying to use it to kill somebody else. Once you get to a point where you execute the step and you can see like, oh, well, I kind of like this because every time I do it, they freeze up a bit, then that's okay too. Then you're like, oh, I'm going to do this more often. Well, now you know it's working. But it's a progression of steps to get there.
I feel like switchfoot's got to have some distinct uses for two weapon fighters as well.
Yeah, they change. Yep.
Switch your stance based on which weapon you're trying to do something.
Yep, or what guard this person has. If I'm out here like this, they may switch so they can throw it to the back of my elbow more. Right? So then I might change that to be square, and then now they switch. Now I have to work. Every time they switch, I have to have the inside leg. Every time I switch, your opponent has to worry about something different. You're making them think. So, you know, the idea is you're getting an opportunity to learn what they do. All right. So we just went through, and since we have them, I'm going to just take a look here for a second, see who's online. All right, we got Margarita. Hopefully you're doing okay, Margaret. And we got Corrigan. I know that you're just going to kind of monitor today. You're going to stuff go on, so that's all cool. And we have iPhone. I'm not sure who that is, but that's okay. And got a mini bike. All right, so we're going to do the next step, just because we talked about it a little bit. We're going to do the long jab step with a changing motion. And we'll show that here. And the idea. Oh, perfect.
Make sure the camera's in a good spot.
All right. So we haven't done these in a while. This can be done with a striking weapon. If you want to add strikes, the idea here is make sure that you know how to do it physically with your feet before you start adding a sword to it. Really, you should probably progress three ways. One is do it with your feet first. So I might take that long jab and keep my hands in good position. I do that until I feel comfortable, and my next step might be I'm going to hold the sword and shield. I'm going to do that long jab and fall over here, trying to keep my sword and shield in perfect form. Or so you guys can see it, here I am, long jab, fall here. That way everything's always perfect. Then at the end of this exercise, it's literally long jab, strike, fall into position. We start adding layers of complexity. The reason why we want to layer that is to make sure realistically that first one should be done for a good period of time so that you feel good with the long jab and falling off to the sides. I can guarantee when we first started doing it, we did not feel good falling off to the sides. But we learned how to do that over time. Now they feel very comfortable. So the first one, what I'd like to see everybody do, and I'll have some folks jump in here and do this. Long jab, fall off to one of the sides. Okay?
Misha, this is your drill, man. Oh no.
So again, long jab, this is just a gathering step.
We don't have that anymore. No problem. It's okay.
Okay?
You can put a book on the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything on the ground.
All right.
Represents.
You want to come over? We'll just roll, we'll just do it and roll around in circles here. Okay? Now, if you're starting the other foot forward, then the free foot is always what moves. In other words, this front foot has a lot of weight on it. This is a free foot. In this case, I just moved that free foot here. If my stance is the other way, bang, this is the free foot. I want to go that way, my foot has to go this way. So there's two different definitions to that, but both of them are really, just about how comfortable you become with it, and you can practice them both ways. In this case, pick a foot and then pick a side and then change it for the other side. So in this case, I'm gonna go ahead, long jab, gather step. Okay?
Long jab, gather step.
What we did with this one is sometimes we literally put marks on the floor, right? And I mark the floor and I see how long my jab can be. Hey! Gather step. So that way I can make a longer jab every time, or I can work on the distance with time. That. Are ya?
Every time we go sideways, I'm like,
Yeah.
aha!
Yeah. So what Clive said is she's getting a long jab, but then she gets it sideways and she gets very wide. Remember, bring those feet back to where they're supposed to be.
Because I'm trying to get further.
Yep.
And then I land still wide to try and feel balanced in this one. Because then I can't move again.
There you go.
Better.
That was good. There we are. All right. So the next one, we're going to go the other way.
Nope, you still have to.
You still got one more.
He's going to talk while you do. Okay.
Exactly. So the next one, we're going to go the other way. So we're going to be here, long jab. In this case, my foot's going to go behind. Long jab and behind. Feet back into your normal stance.
A little bit so we don't trip on the line.
Yep. Ready? Long jab and behind. Go ahead. Right? Did you think you got it?
We'll see if I don't let him.
Yeah, this is a little different. There you go. That was actually close. You lifted that front foot first, didn't you? All right. Again, so as I do this, long jab onto the toes. This foot comes behind this one. My hips are staying. My foot is turning. If I just do this, I'm going sideways. I have to fall into this place and fall in there. In this case, I broke down a little bit. I do it again. I'm long jab here, and I'm here. Okay? I look down and I back foot actually kicked out on me, but this is why I practice them. Don't like it. This one has actually, I handled a little hard time myself. I can tell I haven't done it in a while.
And then my body doesn't want to go left. I'm just throwing the leg and
Yeah.
bringing the body along to the right instead of leading with the body.
Yeah, I just, that's exactly what just happened. Yeah, that's it.
If you're having trouble like I am, you can take a longer pause
Yeah.
and it'll force the body to go.
There you
first.
go. Yep. Don't hold. The idea is at the beginning when you're doing this, you may not do it well. So take that long gap, stop for a second, and then think about just rolling. There you go. Nice. Yeah, but the rest look pretty good there. I'm a little bit butt out on that one.
What's that?
You feel it? That's better, Louis. Almost
Except for the
fell back
falling
a
out.
little bit. Yeah. It's interesting because I've been struggling with this one a little bit right now. Not bad. All right. So that's both sides of that fall-in exercise. We're going to do one that Louis kind of added to these, and that is to cover our long range. There's two ways to cover a lot of range. One is we can lead with this hip. I'm way out here. We lead with this. We're falling. This knee's going forward, and that fall, strike, right? And then add a movement. So this is a lot of people are like, oh, you're teleporting. This is that shot. People freak out because what's happening is as I'm falling in, I'm leading my head straight at my opponent. And then I'm here. Later, you do it with sword and board. You fall right in here. And then at the end, the idea is there's a shot. Louis can do this. So just pretend you're actually shooting. He falls in, and he throws the shot, and then he can move out into another angle. There we go. So that's how it's going to look at the end. But again, get comfortable with that falling. What happens a lot on these, I see people starting up. You can't, fastest way to your opponent is straight line. I should be looking at whatever I'm trying to fall into, right in one spot, and I'm falling right at it. Bang! And then I should just, if I reach my sword out, I should just be able to touch it. Okay? And then second part. So we're going to try that one, and then we're going to add Louis' double step to this to get even more range. So this is all we're going to do. Let's get a couple of these. Here we are.
Falling in step, and then.
And
some
this is
sort of
terrible. I'm
side
way
step.
too wide and square. So don't watch that one, but we're going to fall out with either way. You can pick the side you want to go, but go to that side half a dozen times and then do the next. All right, let's see. I'm watching you, Margarita. Let's see. This is a good one to really cover fast on somebody. That's nice. Good. Now just let yourself fall. Even so, Margarita, later on, what you want to do is maybe put a piece of masking tape on the floor and see how far you can fall forward. You know, that kind of thing. And then just work like 1 inch every day, or every day you practice, you work that extra inch of distance. Because this is exercise is actually super hard. And I've had issues at the beginning of this one of trusting that you're actually falling and that you're going to catch yourself.
Yeah, it's that catching yourself part. I knew I was falling.
That's right. So this is one of these places where you have to learn and develop trust in your own body, which is actually relatively different or difficult, especially after if you've ever had injuries and pain. It's very difficult to learn to retrust that part of your body. It's something that's literally done in sports all the time. Really good physical trainers aren't only doing physical training to rehab that spot, but they're also doing physical training to essentially help them learn mentally to trust themselves again. So they literally, Michael Jordan, he would have a box that's about 3-4 foot tall. When he had his knee problem, he would jump down to the ground from that box. Just to learn, because downward motion is the hardest. That's the scariest place when you have a knee, to jump from a high place to a low place. And he would do that, and then he'd jump onto the next shorter box. So he just rotate that back and forth. So he's getting burst back in there. But if you can trust yourself to fall 4 feet and then pop onto the next one allows him to free his mind. And then the next thing you know, he trusts that spot and he can actually, again, do the things he's so good at. But if you don't trust your body, you're thinking about the distrust and you can't get into the zone. So here you can see they added a little bit of sword just to get a feel for the distance, right? And again, so what happens here is that you're gonna just fall and snap and then out. There you go. And you notice you can add extra shots. If you fall the other way, you can add different type of shot, but one way or the other, this is all building timing and trust of yourself.
Finish all the way
Yeah.
here. And then do.
So here's where just helping somebody get through the each piece again, and that's super important to get through each piece. Okay, here we go. Fall, bang.
Finish all the way here. Then do the sideways step.
So side's showing she's putting a purposeful stop in there because somebody's having trouble. If you're already leaning to one side before you even stopped and delivered, then you're losing power and you're actually losing the technique if you're falling off into their side instead. Right. So
you're telling them where you're headed.
Exactly.
So they can anticipate that second step.
Exactly. So you just trust yourself, long fall. There you go, good. So that doesn't mean later as you get really good, it literally sometimes becomes one. And Louis, so you fall in and you're literally falling right after you deliver, then you're just falling right away. You might just stop, you might buddy up, and then, or if he falls in, he might literally go ahead and do the fall in again and just fall and one foot it into the next position. Yeah, so just fall into it. Once that foot hits, then you just shift your body after. Yeah. Right. So, and even the next step, once you get real comfortable. So here we are, I'm falling in. So what happens is if this step hits, bang, and now you can shift in that thing. Your foot don't actually even have to touch the ground.
But it does come through that.
You got it.
So
So right, and then you smooth that out.
you're not doing this.
Right, and you can do it the other way too. Right, so now same thing. Lands on the first foot, his back foot swings around and goes to the other side of the foot. There you go.
That'll be fun.
Good. I know it's a little different. So what's happening in there is you end up with a different timing scenario. Good.
Where I wasn't ready to go, and then I just threw that leg out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is all nice. So this is all just getting that timing. Even you can see that we're struggling a little bit on timing on this because we haven't done it for a while. There you go. Ball. Good. Yep. 100%, depending which side, either which side or which foot forward first, right? These are all forward. Back foot, and gather step to one side. Back foot. So that was more of a jab instead of a fall. That's a jab instead of a fall. That's a jab foot. Remember, the fall foot, this back foot has to pass by your foot.
Right, I was trying to do all four variants.
Oh, like the 2 jabs, 2 falls? You're actually, so
Yeah, so I was doing the
watch, right? Do
if
the
I
first
do
one.
this
That's
one,
a jab step.
Right, so if I do the jab step,
Yeah,
you do the cross.
right, exactly. And then you can do the fall step.
If I do the
Right.
do that.
Yep. Yeah.
And
So what
Yeah,
Louis is talking about here is he's just adding change into the routine. So when we're focusing on one thing, it tends to be easy. Now he's focusing on different ways to do it and 2 exercises together. Right. And that way he can change it up, he can change patterns up, and he doesn't get stuck in a routine sometimes. Doing a routine like drills sometimes actually leaves you into that space a little bit. So that's where he's into that next place where he's trying to allow his brain to practice changing things.
right, practice with the gears.
Yep.
Different steps.
All right, the last one is going to be Louis' shuffle step, that really long one where you're essentially bring that foot up. So you're more of, I think it's more of that shuffle one. Okay.
Shuffle instead of doing a full-on passing step.
Right, you do like a half a step. Remember you were like when you're trying, instead of the fall, the big long fall.
Like it's one of the
Yes,
many, many
there you go.
variations.
Exactly. That was more of it. Remember when you were having calf issues and the falling was hurting? So Louis kind of added one, and I like it because it's a really short kind of shuffle step in the middle of this, and it covers a great deal of distance because
Instead of trying to awkwardly do like an overly large one of those, or it's a really short one of these, it kind of fills in that happy middle space of haha.
exactly.
I'm trying to keep my right foot on the ground or my back foot on the ground as long as possible. So it's a short delay on how long it's in the air.
Right. So, and then you can go ahead and do this same exercise. We're covering distance again. So you're fall, and then you're just into a corner. Right? So here we are. Almost fell into the pole that time. All right, so let's pull off to the right or left side for a couple. Let's do right first for us so that they can see it executed.
Doing
Shuffle and then fall off. Dude, you see this in intention a lot. You get that little shuffle step, intention a lot. You're here, you're out there, eventually you're like, you get the lead, but okay. So just bring your back foot up to your front and then out. And then out. Yeah. So if you feel like you're not getting this, thing you could do is literally flick your back foot if you want. Okay? The idea is you're literally throwing this here and then I can go.
galloping like horses.
Galloping like a horse.
In elementary school,
That's the deer dance of Native American? Oh, that's funny.
in elementary school with the hobby horse, that was
Right. But in the case for what Louis did with this is he made it super smooth. So now all that's happening is your lower body's changing. Like in a falling step, you're not getting a lot of change, but you're dead finishing on that hard front foot. This one allows you to stay a better center in the long run.
Double steps seem to be good for like slippery grass and stuff because it stays under you a little better than open together.
Yeah.
Because all of the heat happens underneath you.
All right.
To get to be there.
Yep. So I'm gonna watch, see how Margarita's doing there. Let's see it, Margarita. Good. You can even like make that. Now what you do is allow that front foot, start leaning onto that front foot, and then bring that back foot up to where that front foot was and fall forward. So don't cross it quite as far. There you good. Do it again. Nice and fast. Good. And you can actually get that faster and fast. Yes. And you see you can cover range relatively fast and your body stays centered much better. In other words, you can like side here, she could throw anywhere. She could throw on the first shuffle if you want, right? Because her body is over her feet and she's perfectly fine and balanced, right? Where in the long falling step, you are in that position. I long fall, bang. I kind of stuck for a little bit of a second because there's so much. Whenever you fall into something, there's an abrupt end. So this one allows you to even change it. You can do a shuffle and then change it to something else. So
What I was just trying to do there,
and
did that little shuffle, transitioning straight into that
long drop. Yep, exactly. And so to give you a feel
need that extra little hit.
how far that is, I got about here.
Nowhere near.
So
one of them.
this is 7 foot, and she's probably out another 3 or so feet. Go ahead and get your good stance way out there. Yeah, and you're actually still probably too close for a shuffle and a drop, right?
Nah, it's about right.
You think so?
I'm not doing the drop super big right now.
Okay.
Because I don't trust you.
All right. So here's the shuffle. Bang. And
So
she
I
was
like
right
this
on
one.
it, right? Another 2
Oh,
feet
yeah.
would have been probably perfect.
I hit you. So we could have been that much further.
Yeah. So watch. Here we go again. So you guys visiting or what? You're in the middle. Okay. My God. All right. So that's 7 feet. Go ahead for one more foot. Right. Right. So if I go over here, he's almost 14 feet. So here we are.
I'm not a threat. I
So
can't.
right. This is no big deal.
It's a lie. We can't do anything.
But now she's gonna do a shuffle. And then she's back through. There's a lot of distance that can be covered in that piece of time. So there's, again, we just added multiple pieces to that. We have 3 steps. We have a shuffle step. Way out here, you have a little shuffle step. You have a falling step, bang, and then you have a step up. So we're adding pieces of this. And that's what makes it so effective. Woo! Nice catch. All right. So that's kind of all of those fall-in pieces. And the big piece on this, and the part I really want people to understand, is this disengage at the end. If side just falls into me, bang, now I may have to block. She may even get another shot, but if she stays where she is, I'm going to catch up, and she's right in my power zone. She's right in my best game, right? But if she falls in, and then she falls into me and then changes, bang, I block, and then she's gone. I have to chase her. So it takes your opponent's opportunities away by transitioning to sides and always changing your angle. This is the same reason why when you're walking at your opponent, when I'm engaging my opponent, this is the worst habit in the world. I'm out here. I'm not engaged. I walk straight into my opponent's power because I think it's also my power. Well, I don't have to do that. All I do is I start walking out here. I'm still straight into my power and I'm controlling that. But this person has to change. So what I learned right away when I walked over here, she changed and now she started tracking me. That's what I learned. So it's going to be a harder fight because she did exactly what's right. Other people may not even turn. Right? They just turn their upper body. And eventually they turn that foot. If I know that, then I can take advantage of that. Some people will just turn around and play. Right? And I'm working around. I'm learning something. They're following me. I'm actually telling them to turn by walking to a corner. So I turn to this corner this time, and I change it back. And I change it back again. Now they're trying to play catch up, screwing up their minds, and then I'm a beat ahead of them. So this is the reason why we want to constantly change, get our head offline, get our body offline, and change into those corners. So again, we've harped on that before. This is what the footwork helps you do. It helps you to drop into those corners. I could be fighting the side, here we go, and I'm just dropping into these corners. Just change it, right? Just dropping into those angles. I'm shooting into those 45, right? So that's what we're practicing. When you go to practice, that's what you have to practice too. So you can have a partner work with you like we've done before, where we're side leading and I'm following. Here we go. All right, and then I could lead and she has to follow. Okay, so we're making that connection and we're learning how to follow those pieces. Now, again, we've done it solo. In other words, just by yourself. Set your 30-second timer, and we're just adding stuff. Changing those angles. Pop forward, pick around. Add those things. Keep that movement going. Hard part about movement. If you're not comfortable and you're forcing yourself through movement, you're going to get tired. The key is, this is very much like a jog. I add a little bit of burst here and there, but the rest of the time, bang, and then I'm back to a jog. I'm controlling. Back to a jog. I'm just controlling. Hey, back to a jog.
For the most part, it is low energy movement at this point.
So that's why we do those 30-second drills. You don't have to pull out all the time on those. Literally find that place where you're just constantly moving. 30 seconds, here I am. Look at this. Look, I added a back step. I did a jab.
And leading with that core and being balanced is what makes that
Okay, but we're just moving, right? And we're learning to breathe inside that movement, which becomes super important. All right, I think what we're gonna do is we burned through the drills. We got some old drills we haven't done for a while. So keep that in mind. I'd love to, I'll pop something out on the group. Love to get some feedback on how people are doing at practice, how they feel like events and fighting other people are doing, because that helps us drive what we do in the next classes. So the more you share, the more we can cover. And then next week we'll, or not next week, because we will have a bunch of video going up next week. We have a large seminar going on in Detroit. We have a bunch of people coming from out of town. We got a bunch of knights and dukes coming in from around the kingdom as well. We're going to be doing ladder drills and cone drills and pad drills at there as well. If people are close enough and want to make it, you're welcome to come. It will be a Friday, or excuse me, a Saturday, Sunday event. And of course, the invitation's open. But we will send a link out to the group so you know where the Facebook feed for this is going all day. And that way you can watch and see what's going on. So thanks, guys, for everybody joining us. It was nice having you. Thank you for coming out and doing practice. Again, I'll get conversation going so we can get more, cover more things that you want to cover.
Bye, everybody.